Hey, so in this video I just wanted to talk about Octoin, why I'm taking part in the platform and why I'd be inclined to suggest it to others. A bit of history is that I've invested in some other lending platforms, but in those cases it was primarily for the purposes of buy cheap during the ICO, wait till they go to an exchange, sell them at a profit. I had no intention of ever using those platforms. I didn't trust them. They had all the usual issues: spelling errors, offices which don't exist, technical issues. For example, with Stenium, when I tried to invest in that, I just kept get 404ing to the site during those times. So a lot of bad signs with most of the lending platforms, but not always enough that they might still be around long enough that they go to an exchange, the value goes up, you get a profit. But I was never willing to use them for the lending feature itself because I just didn't trust them, or don't trust them, to be around long enough. But Octoin is one of the very few exceptions to that. In fact, one of the very few. So Octoin's a case where the platform has impressed me enough that I actually do have some faith in it. I do think it's around to stay. And so I'm actually willing to take part in the lending and the mining and things like that. I'm willing to lock up my funds in it for a period of time. I still potentially plan to exit at some point. It'll really depend. It'll be a week by week, month by month thing. I don't know yet whether this platform will go big or not. I genuinely think it has good potential, more than any of the other new lending platforms I've seen, but time will tell. Anyways, as for why I like Octoin, well, the first first one is on the technical level. It's stable and it's feature rich. So stable meaning I've never had any issues log into it. I've never found the site to be down. I've never had any performance issues despite all of the features it has. So out the gates, it's stable, working well, has a lot of features, and all of the features work. It's not one of those ones where you log into the back office and it's like, oh, this feature's not available, it's coming soon, that feature's not available, it's coming soon. No. Everything that you can see on the screen, on the nav bar on left, all of it works. And this is only during the ICO phase. So that immediately makes a strong impression, because that says to me this is a site that's actually technically found. The people who've made it actually have some clue what they're doing, they've built it properly, they haven't just banged it together from a template. So that says to me the developers of the site, the owners, are actually invested in it being around. If you were only in it for the scam or the cash grab, the long-term quality of the site's much less of a concern. So that's a good sign. And in terms of the feature richness, I mean, when I first logged into this thing, I was a little blown away by just how much it actually does. All the other lending platforms I've been in, at most they have a single wallet for maybe Bitcoin and their tokens. They'll have an unreleased lending component, and they'll have maybe an unreleased internal exchange if they're doing it that way. And it's not even uncommon for half the features to not even work. Whereas this one, you've got lending already works, mining already works, the internal exchange already works. Even more crazy, they've got support for all these different currencies. My picture is in the way. That's irritating. Alright, give me a second. If you go to add wallet down here, and I'll move myself back where I prefer to be. You can see like all of these currencies they support as an internal wallet, that you can trade with other people, that you can trade for OCC, or at least, I mean, it's, oops, I think I pressed add without meaning to, whatever. I don't know if you can buy or sell OCC for all of those. Possibly it lists. I might actually do a very quick test here. This is getting off topic, but I'm curious to see whether it lets you buy and sell and everything you have here. So let's say I add Ripple. Okay, can I now buy in Ripple? Well, there you go. I can. Now, you know, it's kind of hard not to be impressed by that it's this feature rich and that it works cleanly. And I'd wager, based on my experience at the site, that I don't have any Ripple that I'm going to buy with, but I wager if you did it, it'd probably work cleanly. And okay, but it looks like you can't sell to all the currencies. But it's not really a big deal. You don't need to be able to sell to anything, to everything, I should say. So I don't have any problems with that. So yeah, lending, mining, exchange. Let me see. They've got the typical security features. Let me see. If I go to the option page, I'm just thinking to myself. If I go to the options page, am I giving away any of my info, maybe my email address and shit like that? I'll avoid going there for now, just in case. But they do. You can check for yourself that if you go to the settings page, you can enable two-factor authentication, things like that. I have found it to be a little funky in the sense that when I've enabled it and when I try to log in, it doesn't actually check for the code. So I will grant a caveat that I don't know if the two-factor authentication is working properly yet, or maybe it just doesn't work the way I think it does. But the feature is listed there, and it hooks up with Google Authenticator fine. So I'm willing to give them some leeway there. But that I would actually consider that a minor black mark. And yeah, another reason I have faith in this platform, besides just features, technical stability, that kind of thing, is that they seem to be willing to spend money to market themselves. They're having events, they're having booths and expos and things like this, and this is when they're still in the ICO phase, which is kind of impressive. I mean, because it shows again their level of commitment to this. Now, mind you, they have sold a lot of their tokens at this point, but still, the fact that they're going to these lengths, if they were just in it to get the money and run with it, I don't know. Actually, you can make various arguments to that, but it's still a good sign that they have these things, that people show up. It's in other languages, so I don't understand it. But for example, if we go here, we can see they had some kind of conference on the 28th in Pakistan. You can see these photos, a lot of people attending, people from the team. And that's not the only one. You can see there's ones back here, and it's quite. I mean, there's a lot of different events, a lot of photos, a lot of things they're putting on their blog, which is definitely a good sign because it shows they're active. There's a lot of people interested in it. There's a lot of people behind it. You don't see that with your average lending platform. You don't even see that with your average ICO. So it's hard not to be impressed by that. So let's see. So this is that's the 12th. I want to see when the earliest ones are. So this is, so most of their activity started in December, and yet since that time, there's probably about, there's probably up to 10 different events they have here. I mean, look at all these different things. Bunch of people showing up, these election things. So it's that they're doing this much this early. It's a good sign. It's an indication they're willing to do the legwork to get themselves out there. It's an indication that interest is probably going to grow. One caveat is that a lot of it seems to be in your Asian countries, so China, Vietnam, Indonesia, ones like that. So their main foundation doesn't seem to be a primarily English demographic, like English speaking first language, I should say. I'm sure they can actually speak English. But I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, so long as there's enough people within those demographics involved, the platform can still work. It's only a negative in the sense that if you're a Westerner and don't know those languages, it can be hard to follow all of their content because some of it's in foreign languages. Maybe a minor thing, but I don't see that as a big issue. And I mean, it looks like they have blog entries from, or at least members from a lot of these different things. I don't know exactly. I'm kind of talking up my ass there. I'm not. Let's see what happens. If I click on North Africa, let's see what blog entries actually show up. Then I'll be speaking from knowledge. There you go. They had a Octoin meeting in, let's actually check that Morocco is North Africa. I don't know where it is. Come on. Come on. Okay, It's actually in North Africa. So, it looks like they've got events going on in a lot of these different countries. I mean, hard to not have an impression made by that kind of thing, that they're that active. So yeah, that I see as a reason to have some faith in their future. There's also there's videos on YouTube, like, you got things like this conference here. I'm kind of just going to skip to it, skip that, just... I don't know what it would cost to rent these values, but it's definitely not free. So they're spending money to get these people coming. I don't know who these people are, whether they're staff or whatever. They've all got the shirts. Because it's in a foreign language, it's hard to actually piece together what these expos actually are, why these people are getting... Like, what was it those girls just had? Some kind of... certificates that we're holding. There we go. Okay, that's a bit strange. I don't know what to think about that. It's like these things are like courses, and they're getting certified in Octoin. I don't know what to make of that. Because what is the need for that? Unless they're getting certified to work for them or something. I don't know. I probably need to dig into that a little deeper. So that is one of the other areas in which it is a little bit of a grey area. But when it comes to these lending platforms, this is about as good as it gets in terms of what you can ask for. I have yet to see, and BitConnect was the same, I've yet to see a lending platform that ticks every single box, especially from the start. But this one ticks as many boxes as any I have seen, and it's ticked a lot of them early. So to me, that's a pretty good sign that it's going to be around, that your funds aren't just going to vanish, and they're not just going to vanish on you, and that more importantly, there's a decent chance that they'll keep growing, people will keep getting interested, and their token value of OCC might go up quite a bit. We'll see. That one will be more clear once their ICO sale ends, which, based on current rates, I'm estimating they'll have sold out their tokens maybe within about 10 weeks. I explained that in one of my other videos. And then in May, I believe they're targeting going to the external exchanges. So that's where we'll start to see what the value of the tokens are really going to look like. But yeah, just looking at it too, if we look at, so factoring in for tokens that have been bought and then sold back, they've net sold 23 million tokens so far. So that's about, it's no joke, that's $23 million essentially that have gone into this company from people buying into it. So, yeah, I think there's reasons to have some faith in the system and to think that it's going places. But time will tell. I've invested about, at this point, I think about 1,300 to 1,400 USD worth into this platform. I'm not a wealthy guy, so for me that's not a small amount. It's not a huge amount either. The strategy I take with these things is I only invest as much as I'm willing to lose, because even in a platform as good as this is the cryptocurrency space. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to go up. You don't know what's going to go down. You don't know what's going to vanish off the face of the earth. So you have to be reasonably conservative about it. Put it that way. But yeah, that's my take on Octoin. I'm in it. I'll be posting more videos about it. If I was to suggest a new lending platform to anyone, this one is by far at the top of my list. I cannot think of even a close second. There's barely even a distant second. So yeah, at least not of new ones. There are, obviously you've got your existing established ones like your BitConnect and that, but to my thinking, if you're not in those already, you've kind of missed the train. BitConnect being at $400 or whatever it is, it's hard to. Well, you never know where it might go in the future, but the gains are never going to be as good as they are when you get into a new platform in ICO, and there's that potential for exponential growth in value rather than the more linear kind of growth you start to get with established platforms. But yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, if you're looking in a place to maybe make some gains like that, or that at the bare minimum has a reliable lending and mining platform, which I've explained in one of my other videos, I'll put it in the description. Yeah, consider giving it a shot. And to my benefit, I've put my referral link underneath the video, so if you do decide to buy into them, I'd appreciate it if you use that, but of course it's up to you as well. I'm not going to try and shove that one down your throat. So yeah, anyway, that's it for me and my current take on Octoin, and thanks for your time.